She stood on the deck of a $500 million yacht, surrounded by global elites, camera flashes bouncing off champagne glasses and gold-plated railings. The Venetian sky glowed behind her. But for all the glitz and grandeur of Lauren Sanchez's dream wedding to the richest man on earth, something was unmistakably missing. Her brother wasn't there. Her mother wasn't there. The people who had raised her, protected her, and shaped her were now silent absences. Proof that sometimes, the price of ambition isn't failure, it's success. And no one tells you just how lonely the top can feel until it's too late. How does a girl from a working-class family in Albuquerque end up here, on a yacht next to the world's most powerful man, yet cut off from the people who once called her daughter, sister, friend? Is it love? Or something far more calculated? That answer doesn't come until the very end. Lauren Sanchez's story doesn't begin with Hollywood lights or Silicon Valley boardrooms. It begins in a small home in New Mexico, where her father worked as a flight instructor and her mother as a city clerk. It was a modest life, marked not by luxury, but by focus. Her father taught her the discipline of aviation, how control keeps you alive in the air. Her mother showed her how power moves behind closed doors. These lessons weren't just parental advice. They were blueprints. Lauren was watching, learning, studying the currents of status and survival from the time she could walk. Even as a teenager at Del Norte High, Lauren knew how to draw attention. Classmates voted her biggest flirt, but it wasn't about flirtation. It was about control. She understood early that proximity to popularity, to influence, wasn't just about romance, it was about opportunity. And she wasn't shy about aligning herself with star athletes or the boys most likely to succeed. She struggled with dyslexia, a challenge that could have sidelined her dreams. But what she lacked in academic ease, she made up for with something far more potent: presence. People felt seen around her. Special. Needed. And when she spoke, she made you feel like you were the only person in the room. By college, she had already begun testing her power. While studying communications at USC, smack in the middle of the entertainment capital of the world, she got engaged to Rory Marcus, a respected play-by-play announcer 20 years her senior. He wasn't flashy, but he was connected. Through him, Lauren entered locker rooms, press boxes, and private parties most college students wouldn't even know existed. But stability, it turns out, had a shelf life. The romance didn't survive past graduation. Rumors swirled that Lauren had grown bored, that she wanted more than a quiet life in the stands. Rory died in 2010, never knowing how far Lauren would climb, or what exactly had driven her choices all those years ago. It was during Super Bowl 31 that she met Denver Broncos star Anthony Miller. He was everything her teenage instincts had trained her to recognize: wealthy, visible, in his prime. For 4 years, they were a power couple on the sports scene. But in 2000, everything crumbled. Miller accused her of infidelity, the first of many such allegations that would follow her like a shadow. He never named names, but insiders whispered that Lauren was networking while still engaged, sowing seeds for future relationships even as one was ending. What came next caught even her closest friends off guard. A brief but intense romance with Lakers star Derek Fisher. No public statements, no Instagram declarations, just blurry paparazzi shots and whispered confirmations. The connection seemed genuine, but it didn't last. And it didn't need to. Lauren was evolving. These weren't just relationships. They were rehearsals, case studies. Every man, every event, every red carpet taught her how to maneuver in rooms filled with power. Then came Tony Gonzalez, the NFL legend. This wasn't just a love story. This was strategic. When Lauren gave birth to their son Nico in 2001, it changed the equation. A child was more than family, it was legacy. It meant permanence. But their relationship was volatile. Tony wanted privacy. Lauren thrived on visibility. The breakup was messy. Rumors of infidelity surfaced again. But instead of burning the bridge, she rebuilt it. For the sake of their son, she re-established ties with Tony and eventually with his wife. In a display that stunned even critics, they began vacationing together. Photos of Lauren, Tony, and his wife Toby on Jeff Bezos' yacht told a story few could believe. She had turned an ex into an ally. Not through manipulation, but through mastery. Emotional intelligence became her secret weapon. In 2002, Lauren pivoted from sports to entertainment, dating actor Henry Simmons of NYPD Blue. It was a move that offered less athletic adrenaline, but more Hollywood clout. With Henry came red carpets, award shows, producer dinners. He introduced her to the world behind the cameras, agents, writers, financiers. This wasn't a fling. It was a strategic repositioning. And as the cameras turned toward her, she sharpened her on-screen skills, eventually earning an Emmy for her work in journalism. But it was in 2005 that Lauren leveled up in a way that made the town take notice. She married Patrick Whitesell, the powerful co-head of William Morris Endeavor, one of Hollywood's biggest talent agencies. He wasn't just rich. He controlled careers. Their $2 million wedding drew the A-list elite. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Hugh Jackman. Lauren had arrived. She had married into power, yes, but she was also building it herself. She gave birth to 2 children, curated a polished family life on social media, and launched her own company, Black Ops Aviation. And then came the moment that turned her world upside down. In 2016, at a holiday party hosted by her own husband, Lauren met Jeff Bezos. Shared passions, aviation, technology, space, ignited something instantly. But no one suspected what was about to unfold behind the scenes. Bezos hired Lauren's company for Blue Origin filming. It was business until it wasn't. They began flying together, long flights, just the two of them, above the clouds where no one could interrupt. Friends noticed the shift. Private meetings became frequent. Texts turned emotional. And soon, the secrecy became a full-time job. Burner phones, encrypted emails, coded calendar invites. But the more they tried to stay hidden, the more pressure built beneath the surface. In 2018, the dam broke. The National Enquirer published private messages between Bezos and Lauren, messages so intimate, so raw, they shattered any hope of deniability. But the most shocking part wasn't the leak. It was who may have been behind it. Michael Sánchez, Lauren's brother and longtime fixer, was accused of selling them out. He denied leaking the explicit content, but admitted receiving payment for related information. For Lauren, it wasn't just betrayal. It was an emotional collapse. The brother who helped craft her public image had now become her undoing. Their relationship imploded. Their mother took his side. From that moment, Lauren's inner circle was permanently fractured. And yet, she didn't break. She pivoted. She filed for divorce the day after Bezos did. Perfect synchronization. Lawyers had already been consulted. PR plans were in place. What looked like chaos to the world was, in truth, one of the most meticulously orchestrated transitions in modern celebrity history. If you're captivated by the real stories behind celebrity power moves and the human cost of fame, be sure to subscribe for more deep dives that uncover the moments most media miss. In the months following the scandal, Lauren disappeared from public life. Friends say she spent weeks alone in a Malibu compound. No interviews, no posts, just silence. For someone whose life had been built in front of cameras, it was unsettling. A therapist later told an insider she was processing layers of grief, not just for the scandal, but for the people she had lost in the process. Still, Lauren reemerged. Stronger, calmer, more precise. Public appearances resumed, this time with Bezos beside her. She curated a new narrative, not a scandal, but a love story. Not betrayal, but destiny. The wedding in Venice was a final act in this reinvention. A fantasy setting, designer gowns, global icons. But for all the guests and grandeur, her family's absence spoke louder than any speech. It was a quiet reminder that even dream endings can carry ghosts. Lauren Sánchez's story is not a fairy tale. It's a blueprint, a cautionary tale, a reminder that when you chase power, you sometimes lose your roots. She didn't just rise. She rebuilt again and again. But behind the triumph, behind the calculated steps and sealed court documents, there's a woman who now walks through the most exclusive rooms in the world, without the people who once taught her how to open the first door. For more true stories of ambition, betrayal, and transformation, explore our next videos. What you missed in the headlines is where the truth actually lives.